Welcome to Revoicing the Future, a Women of NAMM podcast, presented by AKG. Just as one revoices a chord, Revoicing the Future creates a completely new perspective on the invaluable notes that make up the whole. It will uplift women's voices in the music products industry, which have earned their time to be the root of the chord. Once a month, you can catch productive and valuable conversations with women working in manufacturing, retail, the nonprofit sector, music education, touring, and overall women who inspire us. Together, we can help shape the future of our industry, one interval at a time. This podcast is co-produced and edited by Natalie Morrison, Stephanie Lamond, and Julia Olsen. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Revoicing the Future. I'm your host, Natalie Morrison, and I'm here with, of course,
Steph, your co-host, co-producer, pal. Here I am. Here we are.
First and foremost, I just want to thank everyone who listened to our anniversary episode last month. All the love and the messages that we received through that just really warmed our hearts. And we're so grateful to all of you.
And again, to Katie for doing the interview.
Oh my gosh.
What a trip it was to be on the other side of that. It's so hard to be interviewed because then there's so many things I wish I said differently but I loved it.
We feel for the people that we have on the other side of the microphone.
Great way to put that. Great way to put that. Yeah. It's not often I'm the one on the other side of that, nor any of us. So yeah.
It's very exciting.
Wow. Anybody found something good in there.
I know. Oh, there's so many good nuggets. Anyway, on to the next 5 years. We have some very exciting things coming down the line for the podcast, which you're just going to have to stay tuned for. But before we dive into this month's episode, I just want to remind everyone, if you were listening to this on the day it drops on August 14th, at 11 a.m. Pacific time, Women of NAMM is hosting a deep dive with Shira Yevon, who is the CEO of Gritty in Pink. And she's going to be talking all about the untapped potential of interpersonal connection and using networking as a superpower. We love Shira. So this is a must-see, and I really hope that you all sign up and tune in. Information on the Women of NAMM website to register.
And if you need a primer, go back, listen to her episode of Revoicing the Future.
Yeah.
Remind yourself of your story. Come with questions. Her story. Yeah. What a rock star.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah. So, Steph, who are we listening to or interviewing?
Today you will be listening to, and we are interviewing, you're hearing us interview, our dear sweet friend, Kristina London, who we are just so excited we got to sit with us for this. She's the founder of Amplify Her Voice, and she also works in content and touring for Live Nation Women. But Amplify Her Voice really is her just making her early mark on the industry, and there's so much more. What will she have done by the time she's like, all right, I'm done with music, right? I can't imagine. Anyway, Amplify Her Voice is an organization that's at the forefront of championing gender equality in the music industry, and they are all about advancing women's careers, and they do a lot of educational stuff, networking opportunities. They have a lot of mentorship opportunities that they'll give, a lot of creative opportunities to both educate and give real opportunities for women entering the industry to get work, learn where the opportunities are, see where they fit into the whole. And also they were kind of at the forefront, which we get into with Kristina, of taking a lot of the data that has been synthesized through, say, like MusiCares, USC Annenberg, and all those studies, and bringing that to the general public. They have been incredible at making that data something that the industry can digest and know of to drive the need. And Kristina is just a brilliant rock star who we are so grateful we get to talk to and be friends with. Do you have anything to add to that, Nat?
I think one of my favorite things about Kristina, and we've been trying to get her on the podcast for a while, is that she grew Amplify Her Voice simultaneously as we grew Revoicing the Future. So there are a lot of really cool parallels that we've experienced together, and it's just really awesome. Oh, and also she made the Forbes 30 under 30 list.
Yeah, there's also that. She's just another, speaking of rock stars, right? A genuine rock star that, has been cool to watch a peer rise kind of at the same time. So at this point in her journey, share her with you. And if you don't already, we'll get into that later at the end, but look up Amplify Her Voice, follow it, get to be part of it. My goodness, it's the best, as is she.
Yes. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite snack, and we will see ya next time. Hi, Kristina. Welcome to Revoicing the Future. We're so excited to have you.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
This has been a long time coming.
I know. Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Truly just so honored to have you join us. So for those who might not be familiar with you, we'd love to give you the opportunity just to understand how you got into the music industry and what your career journey has looked like so far.
Yeah. So far, to start from the beginning, I grew up playing instruments. I played piano, drums, bass, ukulele, and loved playing music, but I didn't love performance. I had a lot of performance anxiety and at the same time just didn't find it that satisfying, but I loved working behind the scenes. So I decided maybe around like 8th grade that I wanted to work in music business specifically. And I never had a plan B. I went to University of Maryland for college, just did a really general major and did as many internships and part-time jobs as I could. And then when I graduated, COVID happened. So I didn't get a dive straight into music or anything. And that is actually how I met Steph. Right around when I graduated, I started what was just a small little project called Amplify Her Voice. And my intentions behind it were to spotlight the gender disparity within the music industry, especially the statistics behind it, and also try to create a grassroots community of other women who either felt like they were soloed out in a boys' club or, it felt like they had anecdotal experiences of being the only woman in the room, but, there wasn't any it didn't feel legit enough to just use your own experience. But I think that's why the data is so important. And through that, I would reach out and just cold email different organizations and companies and festivals to work with us. And it's just organically grown a lot over the last 6 years now. And Steph was one of the first people we worked with back in the day at Grammy U. And the Recording Academy is still someone we work with today. We just had a call with them last week.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And from there, I sort of was able to network a lot virtually during the pandemic through Amplify Her Voice. And at the time, although I wasn't working in music for my full-time gig, I did earn a lot of connections. And that got me to my first full-time role that also moved me out from Washington, D.C., Maryland, where I was born and raised, out to L.A. And that was at a little company called Golden Voice. They're known for Coachella and a bunch of other music festivals, and they own and operate a bunch of venues in the LA area and San Francisco, a couple at San Diego, actually. And now I am at Live Nation under a division called Live Nation Women, and they power progress within Live Nation, but also in the general music industry for women. So it's been a pretty wholesome journey.
I love it.
Wholesome is a great way to put it. Truly, my heart is just swelling as you talk about this. And remind us, what was your role at Golden Voice, and then what is technically now at Live Nation? What is the day-to-day?
Yes. So my role at Golden Voice was the social media manager. It was a lot of fun.
I remember a lot of those posts, actually. That's making me laugh. When you were covering Coachella and stuff back then, that's great.
It was good stuff. Now at Live Nation, I spearhead content and touring under the Live Nation Women division. One of the reasons I went to Live Nation was so I could learn more of the touring and talent buying route. And this role gives me the ability to learn that and discover more about the talent buying and touring side of the industry while also doing what I do best, which is social media and content.
And remind me of that. What are you usually working on at any given time in projects?
At Live Nation or Amplify?
I guess Live Nation, and then we'll switch gears fully for the rest of it to Amplify, but just for the day job part of it still.
Yeah, for Live Nation Women, it's a lot of partnerships. It's a lot of internal facing things, but we do have an exciting partnership we're announcing starting this week. And I'm very, very excited for that because it's two groups that I work with very closely. So I'm pumped, but
that's exciting.
Yeah.
But a perfect segue as well to everything you do with Amplify, because it's the same kind of skill set. Well, okay. And on that, it was so fun to be putting together this interview because I just feel like our journeys have been so parallel in this too. You're one of these people that I love knowing was over there, just doing your thing as I was doing my thing over here as we kind of found our way. And I feel like your path, and we're about to get into everything Amplify, has just exemplified like when your role doesn't quite exist yet that you are meant to fill, you just do it. Like you make your space for yourself however you can, and then the path kind of rises in front of you, right? Like the industry can adapt to find the space that you're meant to fill because you're a little bit ahead of the game in some ways. And I just always thought that was so cool watching your path in that way. But like, how has that felt for you being in that journey of building the track before the train?
You know, I used to say I just wanted to be like a cog in the machine, you know, just work at a company and stay there for my whole life and then retire. Something felt so like definitive about having a place to stay forever.
Comforting. Yeah. Safe.
That's not how a lot of careers work these days. And it's definitely not how I operate. So I definitely have this like tension within myself for like, you know, you don't always have to innovate or you don't always have to raise questions or whatever. But I feel like the more I do, the more it seems to not only work in my favor, but it seems to carve a space out for me and for others. And as much tension as I have within myself, I think it kind of has worked out.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like there's like a little voice inside of all of us who are like, are you sure you want to do that?
I know.
But then once you kind of rip that Band-Aid off, I feel like it really just helps push us forward into ways that we never really imagined ourselves. Because we always are going to look at the safe option, right? We're always going to think of, oh, this is safe and stable and let's look over here.
Yeah.
Instead of pushing the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah. There's a lot of anxiety, I think, in pushing the boundaries and doing things outside of our comfort zone. But I think there's a lot of excitement in the uncertainty. And I feel like I'm trying to learn to embrace that more.
Yeah.
Yeah. That reminded me of one of my favorite song lyrics. It's called Bubblegum. Great song. But there was a line in it that I always was like, oh, yeah, the edge is where all the sparks fly when the wheel spins.
Oh.
So I listened to that a lot in a time in my life where I needed to feel like that was okay to be terrified of that, the unknown in that.
I remember when Steph sent me the email introducing me to you, Kristina, and it was right around the time too when we were starting and had our feet in the water with the podcast. And it's just very interesting and fun to watch you and your organization accelerate in the way that it has. And just know that we're doing this in our own lanes of the industry, but just having someone who has that similar mindset to both Steph and I, it's just something that I really admire about you.
Thank you. Oh, that's so kind.
So let's talk about Amplify.
Let's get into it.
You launched this project while you were still in college.
Yeah, I was just graduating or like on my last month.
That's awesome. When you started, did the idea manifest itself because of a certain experience you had, or was there just this aha moment of, wow, something like this needs to exist?
It's a little bit of a mix. I think, a lot of inequalities, I think in life, it's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I know for me, it started with working at a small venue in Maryland. And I was the only girl on the main music staff and didn't think much of it. But then I don't even know why I got this idea. I went through every single artist we ever had at the venue. The venue was only 2 years old at that point. Every single person that stood on that stage, just went through everyone. And it was 5% women.
Oh,
I know. I remember going to the owners who were my bosses and I was like, bro, like this is so crazy. And I was never like an activist or anything about anything, but I was like, that's kind of crazy. And then you just start seeing it everywhere. And I don't know, this was probably after I found the USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative data and other, women in music reports, but it just, I feel like it stuck in me and never left and hasn't for the last 6 years. And I kind of point to that as like a big moment. I think there's also been really like uncomfortable situations as a young woman in music with just like creepy dudes. And I've had my fair share of that, as I'm sure we all have. And it just gets to a point where you're like, oh my God, like I'm just trying to live in a space that's just as much my passion as it is their passion. I think of the first time I went to a concert venue. It was the 930 Club in Washington, D.C. And I was 14 years old. And I remember some guy who was probably in his 20s, I don't know, like harassing me, trying to get to buy me a drink. And I'm just like, that is, as like ripe 14-year-old, my first experience in a concert venue within, moments of walking in the door. And that's just something men don't have to deal with in that same way.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, I think it's like a combo of these things just created the perfect storm where I just felt like I needed to like put my own touch on something. It's funny because I get asked a lot of why I started something, but I didn't have intentions or anything. I wasn't like, I'm gonna do programs or like try to build a community or something. I just like wanted to put something out there in my own way.
It's so interesting. I feel like that's that USC Annenberg study that really spearheaded so many of these conversations, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people that I talk to is like, oh, that study. And it just shows how powerful data can be.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like I said before, we all have these sort of isolated anecdotal experiences, but when you put the data behind it and the numbers to back it up, it just really speaks volumes.
Well, and that's exactly, I mean, Nat, you were going to go off of that has been, I think, one of the main strengths of what you have to say through this is that it's so data driven. It's so about expressing this through, this is just what it is. This is exactly what these stats are. But also with like killer design, a great social voice, like the way that you say it has been so you and your own unique voice on it. So I think that is just watching it has made that really stand out or made the message land too in a really good way, right? Like you need science, you need communications, and you've kind of wrapped that all up in one way to make people be able to hear these things.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I worked really hard.
I mean, it's related to so many people, right? Like the growth of your organization, like it obviously just resonates so strongly with so many people. So, I mean, it's just the data.
Well, I mean, and also data is data, right? But if you're creating content around it to make it easily accessible and digestible for people, then it's going to resonate more.
Shareable, storyable. I remember all of that back in the day. Everything was so easy to just be spreading.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there is a responsibility in that. People love to share stuff to their story and whatever, but when you work in socials, you see the impact it has just through the social data itself, what's performing well and what's not, and why something might need to be reworded. One thing I do with Amplify is we'll post different statistics throughout the year, and one year it will land and hit, and we'll do the same exact one, worded a little different, and it will just flop. And it's an interesting case on algorithms and how something worded, like why it's doing well and why it's not. But I think there's a responsibility to also provide solutions, which is what we've been trying to do over the last few years with a few programs and initiatives that we launched. And I hate just to be part of an echo chamber screaming into the void where I'm like, we need better. And everyone else is like, yeah, but then there's no answer.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to be part of that more.
Well, and I feel like y'all always were like the job boards and everything, like immediately y'all had tangible things that I was sending people to back when too. So I think another vote for it's always kind of been that. I thought that was something you always did so well from the beginning.
Thank you.
I just needed to shout out that longevity.
How do you go about sourcing your data? Have you seen the shifts in the data over the years, and how do you normally go about sourcing that?
I don't know. I've seen shifts in data. I feel like it really sped up a few years back. People were really interested in just women in music data, and then it kind of slowed down, but it hasn't improved much. And I think that it's almost disappointing and hard to keep pushing the same couple data points every year for 6 years because it's really not changing a whole lot. I think there's a lot of information out there, but I think it's those tangible, actionable tools and items that will really get us to like the next step.
I think it's interesting that you're saying that things haven't shifted, because when we look at the Grammys, for example, and we're analyzing like how many women are nominated, how many win. And yes, maybe it looks like there's more from the outside looking in, but when you really...
Oh, the Grammys is an interesting one. I love the Recording Academy. I love the Grammys. I went for the first time this year and I had a blast.
It's so fun.
I gotta say, and I see all the things they do. I had a call with their DEI team last week, and they really do try, I think under Harvey, are just really, really trying to genuinely improve.
Oh, yeah.
But, it's like you see almost all women accepting the awards on the televised platform. But at the end of the day, when Beyonce wins Best Album of the Year, I don't remember the exact data point, but I think it's 2 women, because when it's Album of the Year, it includes like the mixers, the masters, the producers, all of that. Let's say it's 20 people within that category. Like 2 are women and 18 are men. So it's still a majority of men walking away with these trophies. Even though Beyonce's name's on it, those are the winners. And I think it's important for women to get into those more niche fields like
technical
production and technical. Exactly. Especially on this podcast. Get into music tech.
It reminds me too of just the importance of data because, like, again, shout out Recording Academy. Love them over there. They are simply a reflection of the industry because they are a membership association. And if the industry is what it is, that is what you will see. And they're doing their darndest to be like growing those numbers. But like, if the industry doesn't evolve, you can't see that reflected in the show, even though they're doing a great job of trying to uplift folks in the same way that you need to see the data like you are doing to prove the need and all these things. But it reminds me so much too of what you were saying that we know this is a problem. Like, yeah, that's the same few data points every year. And now what we need is exactly what y'all are doing. Now we have to just roll up our sleeves and keep doing the solutions because like we get it, we know. And so now we have to do it. I mean, I guess we probably do need to keep saying it because I was actually in a session the other day and it's like people still don't know this. So we do have to keep screaming it from the rooftops. And though it is about what are we not doing right so that these numbers aren't changing? And I think it probably is that programming stuff, but I think we'll get into that now with what y'all are working on next. Because that's the how. It's the why and the how. All of these things are kind of tied in that cycle of it.
Yeah.
And that's just one example, right? That we've seen over the years.
We love you, the Recording Academy.
We love
you. Yeah. They're visible. I mean, and it's, again, a reflection of the industry. It's like, I feel we've said that about NAMM before too. It is the gathering place of the industry. And you will see the industry at the NAMM show. You'll see it at the Grammys. And they almost like can't be blamed for any of it because it's the industry that is rising up and being visible. And that now we see it in these gathering places, I suppose.
Yeah.
Shining that light.
As we hint about you and Amplify Her Voice really kind of highlighting these solutions, you're always looking to help open doors for other women in the industry. And you started doing that with partnerships, video and photo opportunities on and around tours, festivals, venues. So can you talk about how that side of the organization came to be and how you decided was the next step for the organization?
I always wanted to do any sort of program that got especially emerging young women into the first music spaces. I know for me, it was like being backstage at a show or seeing the behind the scenes or just these exclusive looks that in the industry you don't get to see were so impactful and just stuck with me. And figuring out ways to streamline that to more women and more people is all I ever want to do. So I will first say that to do all this, I had to have a team. Katie Myers is my partner in crime and in not crime and gender equity. And without her, I don't think Amplify would be living and breathing as it is right now, and the rest of my team. And at the end of every year, we do a survey and we try to see what our audience wants us to focus on. And year over year, it seems to be the same few things. They like working in live events, touring, and photography, and like A&R, artist management. So every year we're like, okay, let's figure something out to like give these young women opportunities in those specific fields. So I believe we started with a program called All Access, and it's a behind the scenes program for aspiring live music professionals. And the purpose of it, I was working at Golden Voice, working behind the scenes at festivals. And there's so much that goes on behind the scenes to get a festival like that going. You have someone like me doing socials, just like behind a desk, the entire festival, writing copy and like getting approvals and whatever. You have the photographers, you have videographers, you have content creators, you have architects. They have architects at Golden Voice. There's so many jobs. I'm more on the creative marketing side, but there's a billion other jobs, I'm sure. And I wanted a program that showed these young women those different roles, because every time I sort of take a LinkedIn informational interview, they just don't seem to know what they want to do. They want to work in music, but they don't know what they want to do. And I think it's because that access to understanding what people do is so gatekept. So I think being able to see what the options are, like, oh, I want to work in live music, in like on-site social media, in live music, like that is a job. That was my job, And I think the more you can nail down like what you're good at and what you want to do, the more fulfilling of a career you'll have. So we created All Access. and ran it across All Things Go Music Festival, which has been a long-term partner of ours. And it was amazing. And we essentially just led these young women backstage. We got to show them different partners and sponsors, and they got to see some of the artists and got to meet the festival owners. They got to meet the photographers, videographers, social media people, just all the people backstage. And we get really good feedback after those programs because I think it does either give them a good idea into what sort of career they want to dive into, or it just gives them that energy to be like, I want to be doing this. And that's how I feel when I'm backstage. I'm like, oh my God, why would you want to do anything else? And then we have another program called Equal Exposure, and that is a photography shadowship. And we started that one across the Mr. Wives and Bishop Briggs tour with Maddie Vogel. He's an amazing photographer. He was Billie Eilish's photographer for many, many years. And we gave the opportunity for shadows to have one-on-one time with him before and after each show. And that was a really, really special program. We did it across Blue to Tigers tour. And now we most recently launched Equal Exposure at the Greek Theater. So at select Greek shows, the ones that get approved, we will have them shadow the house photographer. And we just completed our first one last night and it went so well. And it just makes me so happy.
Who was the show last night?
It was Trombone Shorty.
Ooh. Oh, heck yeah. Whoa.
And we just got the sweetest email from the program participant after. And it's stuff like that just makes my heart turn into little butterflies. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's so cool. I love how you call it a shadow ship.
Yeah. I don't, is that a word? I don't know.
No, you
it is now.
That term. You coined that term. It is now.
I'll take it.
I love that though. I have this conversation in my day-to-day job all the time. And NAM is also doing this with their Careers in Music initiative of just really pulling back the curtain and showing people that there are so many different careers that you can have in music if you're interested in music.
Yeah.
And then you are actively helping to give and share those opportunities with emerging women entering the music industry, that these interests of theirs are actually a real career that they can have. And it's awesome.
Definitely. I mean, and we do it for free and as their side hustle. So all these other businesses should be doing this. It's a lot of fun and not that hard.
Heck yeah. So do you guys have sponsors? Like, how does that from the nonprofit side work?
So sometimes we'll get donated product for things, but overall, we've worked with All Things Go Music Festival for a few years to help them secure sponsorship. And through that, we've been able to generate our own money. Not a lot, I'll say. Like, I'm not rolling in dough over here, but it's enough to balance out our costs and everything. And that's been more of a newer situation. So we're really kind of adjusting into having a little bit of finances to do some things. Like on this run of Equal Exposure, we're able to pay our house photographer. And I think payment is something I always want to do, obviously. And I think that's been one of the biggest successes for me personally, is being able to pay the people I think are doing amazing work and volunteering their time, getting paid to share their expertise.
Well, it reminds me too, I feel like our executive director at Backline, Hillary, says this a lot, that like when you're filling a need that needs to be filled in the music industry, ideally the powers that be and the establishment should be putting up something to help, because that need still needs to be filled. And a lot of that isn't being filled by the established powers kind of thing, right? So like they need to be putting money into these initiatives that are closing all these gaps, that are doing this good work.
Yeah.
And we just got to keep expressing the importance of that. But there's huge opportunity for companies to, one, it's just good. Like it's good for them to do it. But that's where a lot of support needs to come if it's not going to be in-house. Like, which, although I feel like you are really perfectly in the middle ground of that, though. You are in an in-house that is doing a great job with it. And on the outside, you are doing your own thing that is doing a good job with it. So you're kind of seeing all of it. I remember when you got this job, I was like, oh my God, could there have been a more perfect step for this? But this is something that needs to exist. And ideally, anybody listening that has budgets to do any of this, we need to be like, it's not a closed loop. This needs to be a closed loop ecosystem that is like serving itself, growing the industry, putting people in these jobs. And I guess, how do we keep proving the need that people need to put money behind it, that it matters?
Yeah.
All this work that we've been doing for free for so long, just because we're passionate about it.
We find like a really good synergy between certain companies and organizations. And I think it's just about finding people who are kind of on the same mission as you, whether it's like directly in music or if it's, brands that really align with our ethos and everything. So they're out there.
Just got to find them.
You and I have talked about this on the side, but I really love your relationship with All Things Go because I think it's really knocking that door down a little bit more on the music festival side, where I'm hoping more of these festivals are kind of paying a little bit attention,
Yeah. Yeah. I love All Things Go. That started 6 years ago. I'm from the DC area and they're from DC. So I've known about them for a long time, but started working with them through Amplify Her Voice, just through promotional partnerships and giveaways, but then just sort of expanded, and they've been such close friends, but also mentors of ours, and even just people who have never pitched a sponsorship in our life, being able to use their platform essentially to do that, to make our own money, has been so helpful. And I love them specifically because they book mostly women, and they not only mostly book women, they book women and sell out. And I think they're a really good blueprint for what the future of music could be and should be, if I say so myself. And I think a lot of the industry kind of is seeing that, especially with those numbers, when you have Firefly Music Festival not doing the festival anymore, and you see Coachella not selling out and all these other festivals just not doing as hot. But then you see this festival that's different and niche and all women, and it's doing great year after year and growing. It's been really special to sort of be part of that, and have us grow as they're growing, and they're just so great.
How do people get involved if they are interested in participating in any of the programs that Amplify puts on?
Follow our socials and then you'll find out about them. We do them as often as we can. Equal Exposure is a good one right now because it's ongoing. We'll be doing that throughout the entire Greek season, so about till the end of October. All Access, I'd love to expand it past All Things Go, but we'll be in DC doing the All Access tours across all 3 days, probably like 2 tours a day. I give them, so I'm just like yapping and like talking the whole time. So maybe I'll add a third. I don't know. But I would say if you're in the DC area and you're going to All Things Go, you should apply when it's out. If you're interested in photo, video creative, and you want to shadow the house photographer at the Greek Theater, our next application will probably be coming out. So just look for it. Keep an eye out.
Also, your social is your main source of communication.
True. Yeah. I don't know how else you'd hear from us. So
I love it. It's the best. It's so Gen Z coded.
I know. Yeah. We had a newsletter, but I kind of stopped doing it because I just hate sending stuff without like much substance behind it, sending to send. I'm not a big fan of doing stuff to do stuff, which is what the old school music industry loves to do. So yeah, maybe we'll start up the newsletter again one day. I don't know.
If there's a need.
Yeah.
I had a thought. You mentioned Katie, but like y'all have been just this wonderful, tight-knit, like scrappy, small team for so long. Thoughts on how y'all have been so successful together? Like, I guess it's one hand finding the people, but then also maintaining that bond and communication, right? Like, how has that evolved as the organization has evolved? And any reflections on what has made y'all so successful in working together?
Also, just noting that this is a side gig.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love the team we have and the dynamic we have. And I think protecting that dynamic is the most important thing. I see it with companies I work at or have worked at. And for me, I'm always people first. And I'm a strong believer, and I can only do this for so long, but I should be able to do the jobs of everyone beneath me. So if they can't do something, I can do it in a heartbeat, And I think we just have a very strong, fun, girly pop dynamic group, and preserving that's more important to me than anything. And I think just the positivity and the mission and everyone, really truly caring about gender equity in music is what keeps us so excited. And I think that's the most important thing you can be, is especially in a volunteer in your free time situation, is just really passionate and excited about what you're doing. I'd say a group chat, just a really fun, silly group chat, is the way we've been able to do that. And we'll all come to All Things Go and stay in the same hotel room apartment thing that we rent every year. And it's such good vibes. It's like chaperone and friendship bracelets and makeup. It's just so fun. Like last year, we all got sushi the night before and then got ice cream sundaes. It's just so fun. We work hard too, but I think just being humans first and have fun and not take things so seriously. But, it's also, I think we have this level playing field, all of us. And I really strive to make sure everyone feels like they can speak up or give their opinion. Like there's so many times where I'll come up with this social concept. I'll work on it for like months. I'll send it to the group and be like, what do you guys think? And they're like, no, like they're just like, hell no.
Honest,
like,
open
what?
communication.
Yeah,
love
wait, you guys don't like see how something, and they're just like, no, like it's tone deaf or it doesn't hit, it's not the vibe. And I'm like, damn, and I think it's good to have those checks and balances, even in small teams, to know what to do best. And I think having different perspectives and everything, it's the only way to, in my opinion, put out the best content and the best programs and the best ideas, as many opinions as possible. And last thing I'll say is when I started leading a team, it was really challenging for me. I am a people pleaser and I noticed my style was like passive aggressive and everything. And I think I worked a lot on myself and trying to be an assertive leader and a compassionate leader. And I think maybe Katie could tell you, but I'm sure my leadership skills the first year versus now are very different. And I think there's been a lot of just evolution in that as well.
This makes me so happy. I'm like...
Well, Nat, it reminds me of what we were just talking about in another episode where like the power of feminine energy and leadership.
Yes.
It's just good. Like it makes it fun and productive. Like when everybody's in it, it's just beautiful. And I remember we did that first event and I hadn't met Katie or Martha at all before. And I left and I was like, oh, I felt like I've been friends with everybody forever right after that.
I know.
It was just so warm and good. But also again, so productive, so sharp, so brilliant, and also the safest place you've ever been in your life. It's just like, I love it. But I think that's that special magic sauce of it all a little bit.
Yeah, I think you can be girly pop and also a very serious, productive leader. I don't think it's one or the other. And I think you can be shy and an introvert and anxious and still, speak on a podcast or a panel or something.
I just got goosebumps.
Kill it.
So
You're killing it.
Thanks.
Truly, we're just giant fans.
It's also so interesting to hear you describe those dynamics because you're not competitive with one another. You're all on the same team, working towards a collective goal and mission. And that energy that you described shows in the content that you put out.
Totally.
I can just now hearing that this side of it and seeing the content, I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Oh, yeah. A lot of stuff I'll be like, especially our younger people on the team, they'll be like, emojis are like cringe. And I was like, what? Like, emojis are cringe now? Or something like that. And I'm like, okay, that's good to know.
Noted.
Yeah, like more Gen Z than me. And I think it's so important to always tap into younger people to know what's going on. And I think as I get older and I don't have time to be on TikTok 6 hours a day or whatever, I'll need to rely on people who know what's cool and what's up and coming. And I find there's a big disconnect between that and kind of old school music industry. They really want to stick to like old fashioned ways. And yeah, I try to just practice what I preach and embrace that as much as I can.
Oh, I love it. It's amazing. Where do you see the future of Amplify Her Voice 5 years down the line?
God, 5 years ago, I would not assume that it would have brought me to LA and Forbes 30 Under 30 and a South by Southwest panel and collabs with the Greek and everything. So it's hard to really think about that. I mean, I would love to have a full-time paid company. I think a lot of women equity and women-owned businesses are almost looked at as like a charity. And I think a big thing I want to do in practicing what I preach is to have a profiting business that women-centered entertainment isn't just charity, it's profitable. And I think we see that with All Things Go. And we see that with Chappell Roans and Sabrina Carpenters and all these huge artists and all these smaller artists too, Rachel Chinariri's and just so many artists out there. And I'd love to just bring that to the forefront even more so. I don't know how to get there, but I know there's a way to make me and all the girls money. And I think it's like young fangirls were already tapped into so much of this stuff too. It's like they're the ones that see One Direction and Harry Styles and a lot of pop artists. I think I'm mostly naming, but they are really the backbone to the industry and new music discovery. And I'd love to find a way to bridge the gap between a profitable business that makes me and artists the money they deserve and also women-centered advocacy.
Love it.
I can't wait to listen back on this in a few years and be like, she did it. How cool that this exists now.
I hope so.
I'm putting a mental note in my head that I will revisit this.
Oh, man.
But it is hard because a symptom, right, of our industry is the money aspect of music is such a fundamental problem. And so it's solving a lot of things. And you will, because you have, tackled everything else that has come and it's just grown and there's such a need and we all are stoked. Like we're all not going anywhere. We all love this world too much to leave it. So we'll find out. We'll figure it out.
I see this for you. Steph and I talk about this a lot. The idea of just having our own businesses or kind of seeing the future of the industry the way that we want to see it in that sense. And I see it for you. I see this vision. But can we just take a moment and talk about Forbes 30 Under 30 for a second? Because when I saw that list drop and your name was on it and it was for a women in music organization, I literally teared up. Just knowing what that list encompasses usually and seeing this idea that just stemmed from you 5 years ago at that point.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you? Did you have an idea that was going to happen?
No. So what's funny is life has a way of lifing. I swear to God.
I love that.
I didn't know much about Forbes 30 Under 30 list, but I think I had a friend in 2023 say that you can nominate yourself. So I nominated myself in 2023. I got shortlisted in September of 2023, and then I didn't get it. And I was so bummed. I was like, damn, like this could have been life-changing. Like, oh my God, I was just so destroyed. Or maybe it was 2022. I don't know. But the next year, I wasn't thinking about it. I'm like, whatever. And my mentor, who I actually met through the She's Music mentorship program, which I love, and I'll hype that up any day. She sends me an email and she says, nominate yourself, and just sends the link. And I'm like, fine. Like everything Amy, my mentor, says, she's always right. So I'm like, fine. I did it again in like June. Didn't tell anybody. I was like, whatever. I'm not going to get it. So whatever. And then I got shortlisted again in September. And I was like, wait. And so I filled it out again. I was like, I'm not going to get it. Didn't tell anybody. I was like, whatever. I don't even think I told my boyfriend. I was just like, I don't want to tell people and make a big deal out of it, just not get it. And then one November morning, I woke up to a ton of texts and I knew right away. I was like, oh my God, I must have gotten it. Because a friend of mine had gotten it and she says, you don't find out till the list is out. And I didn't believe that. For some reason, I was skeptical. I was like, no way. And I didn't find out till that list was out. And it was so trippy. And my East Coast friends who were awake 3 hours before me, they were just blowing me up. And it was just a really exciting time. My parents were like shocked. They were like, how did you get on this? They were, I think, more confused than excited at first. School wasn't my thing. I wasn't a go-getter in school. I was a very average B student. But I feel like in music and in this niche sector in music, I've really found my space. And I think for me, getting on a list that's sort of prestigious like that was really validating in the way that now people in my life who don't understand what I do kind of see the importance of what I do in a way. or the validity in it and the, like, oh, maybe she's making a difference. Who knew? And I think that was probably the biggest benefit. But at the end of the day, it's just a list of things. And I remember how hurt I was the first time I nominated myself and didn't get it. And it was such an ego hit for some reason. And, it's cloud. It feels good to feel cloudy, I guess. But yeah, it was a crazy time. And still to this day, I don't really see myself as like an entrepreneur, as a like crazy go-getter who's like, yeah, since I was like coming out of my mom's womb, I wanted to get on Forbes 30 under 30. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
I'm proud of you. That's amazing.
Oh, well, and proving that, like you alluded to there, it's also, the validity of the idea that women in music stuff matters so much. Like, it's just so powerful, it's you and it's the movement and the idea, and it's so validating and just awesome.
Yeah, it is. And I'm like, I know how much work I put into this. If you're putting as much work as I think me and my team has, like, you deserve some sort of something.
Full bell flowers, just a few.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And it's like, I don't need a list to tell me I am doing something that's a lot of hard work, but it doesn't hurt. So.
Doesn't hurt. You also mentioned, I've been hoping we might get here too, mentorship. And she is the music in that, right? Because you're talking about going to the younger generation. And yet I've also seen you so fabulously be mentored throughout your career here. And we talk about this a lot, of just the importance of mentorship and us growing our careers. Just a few reflections and thoughts, what that's meant to you and why it's so important people should seek mentorship.
Yeah, man, mentorship changed my life, like changed the trajectory of my career. I did the She's Music mentorship program in the summer of 2021. As a touring and events mentee. And I was paired with Amy Davidman, who's one of the co-founders of TBA Agency. And she is so amazing in so many ways. And I think one of the number one ways is that she just has mutual respect because she's more experienced or older or, is a co-founder of her own company. It's like she doesn't look down on you or talk down to you. She just had a immediate mutual respect for me and I did for her. And I remember our first call, she was like, well, you already have Amplify Her Voice. Like, I don't know what I can teach you. And I'm like, girl, you can teach me so much. But yeah, she really validated the ideas I had. I think through doing Amplify Her Voice in this sort of grassroots trial and error way, I never had anybody in the industry just be like, oh, this is a good idea. Or no, that's not really the vibe. And she was that soundboard for me and still is to this day. I have a call with her tomorrow and she's just so amazing. And I think some ways are like, sending me an email that says, nominate yourself for this. And sometimes you just need that push or that suggestion.
It's so important.
Yeah. She sent me the Golden Voice job when I was applying to full-time jobs and I was looking at coordinator roles. And she was like, no, you should be looking at manager roles. And she sent me the social media manager role. I applied, didn't know what Golden Voice was, didn't think I'd get it. And that's the job that got me out here. And I have a million stories like that. She just has a really good finger on the pulse of like what my next steps should be. She's very intuitive, but she also has great suggestions. And I've learned to just do whatever she says. She's always right.
I love it.
And yeah, one last example. I was just getting all triggered one day. I was like, I want to have my own music festival. I want to book these girls on it. And I was just so frustrated with like the state of music festival lineups and everything. And she was like, okay, well, let's start maybe with like a stage at a music festival. And I was like, okay, true. She's not dismissing my idea, but she's like, let's get a little realistic. And I've been pitching to have a Amplify stage at a music festival lately. We'll see if I get it. It's a really good idea. I'm like, yeah, girl, you're right.
Well, it's just a way to make the gap between yourself and that vision a little bit closer. That's how you do it. A little step at a time.
You're coming out here with some knowledge. This is like wisdom.
That is stuff.
Yeah.
I needed that. Thank you. Thank you.
Therapist in training.
Yeah.
Therapist in training, Steph. It's the best.
Okay, 2 final questions. One, for the girlies who might be sitting on an idea that they're not sure if they want to pursue or make come to life, what advice do you have for them?
I would say test it out, I think especially in this sort of grassroots space.
You're such a data queen for saying that. I love that.
I see a lot of people who sort of start their own projects or platforms or ideas or whatever, but because it's not successful right away, they just ditch it. And I think there's some validity to feeling the pulse of like the supply and demand. But I think there's also a lot of benefits in just consistent work and attention and growth. So I think every idea is worth trying and getting out there. And, if it doesn't work right away, then change something about it. I do that with content daily. If something's not hitting, go back to the drawing board and tweak a few things and then see if it works.
Amazing. All right, Steph, your favorite question.
When you are not working and advocating for women in music, everything we just talked about, what makes you happy? What brings you joy? Who is Kristina outside of everything we just talked about that is so all-encompassing? Because it's your day job and your not day job, but also your day job. Like, what else? What are you doing when we're not doing this?
I am a big walker. I try to walk at least 10,000 steps a day. I'm averaging about 9,200 right now, but I'm trying to get that up by the end of the year. It's not really a fitness goal as much as just like, I just love it. I love being outside. I love not being behind a screen. I love hiking and touching grass. I think fitness in that sense has really grounded me and become such a consistent thing in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. I also am a big movie buff. I love documentaries and I keep a list on my phone at all times of my like top favorites of movies and documentaries to watch. I've been a homebody lately. I think I'm in a phase of my life where I just enjoy home and my alone time and feeling cozy. And my cats definitely contributed to that. It's hard to leave when you just have these two little guys to take care of.
That's lovely.
I want to get into candle making.
Oh,
but I think it's going to be expensive. And I don't know if I can justify that when I could just buy one.
Yeah. I saw a gal doing that in like a slow cooker in a store in SF last time I was there. I don't know if it was like a candle make. It looked exactly like a slow cooker. And she just had the wax melting and it smelled great. And I have one now downstairs. But that feels like you could maybe get scrappy somehow.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to be what I always do, I guess. So
exactly. Just find a way. I love it. What is one of the favorite places you have walked lately? Like a place you were like, God, this is beautiful. This is awesome.
I love two places. One in LA, it's Baldwin Hills in Culver City. If you're familiar, there's like the Culver Steps. I don't do the steps. I do the trail that goes around.
Yeah.
And especially in like May, June, the flowers are blooming there and it's so pretty. It's actually the last photo I posted on Instagram because I just love it so much. It's so pretty. And also the Outer Banks in North Carolina. I don't know if you guys have ever been, but I love it. And that's like my comfort place. And it's so beautiful and smells so salty and I love it there. So those two spots are the best.
Well, Kristina, thank you so much. It was just an honor to have you join us and tell your story and amplify story. And I just can't thank you enough for all that you do for women in music. And
thank you.
Keep being scrappy and girly and all the things.
I will. I don't know what else I'd be.
We appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Revoicing the Future. You can subscribe to the podcast on all major streaming platforms or visit our website. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Women of NAMM. This episode was co-produced and edited by Natalie Morrison, Stephanie Lamond, and Julia Olsen. Together, we can help shape the future of our industry, one interval at a time. See you next time.